Stuber is directed by Michael Dowles and stars Kumail Nanjiani. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Dave Bautista, Iko Uwais, and Maria Sorvino. And also Karen Gillan. And this is a film where we have an Uber driver named Stu, who is basically doing this service as an Uber driver and picking up people along the way and stuff. And he comes across this detective in the LAPD named Vic, who's played by Dave Bautista, who's on a case to go after the guy from the raid, his villain character, after some history of pursuing him for so long, and
after something bad happened to a partner of his, a couple years prior to the events of the present.
Yeah, and then pretty much he ends up having to trail him along, and along the way he's bickering back and forth with the Uber driver, and it pretty much becomes pretty straightforward.
Yeah, pretty straightforward. The Uber driver becomes part of the chase.
Yeah.
Part of that has to tag along with them.
Yeah. Now, here's a little backstory. Now, I got from the trailers in this film, I actually kind of really got interested because I've always liked Dave Bautista in a lot of films that he's done, and it's good that he's, doing some other stuff outside of his usual action movie genre.
Especially MCU.
Yeah, and what's interesting, also, I've seen that guy that's in this film, the main Uber guy who plays the Uber driver. Mm-hmm. He was in that movie a couple years ago called Fist Fight, which I thought was funny. Yeah. And his biggest breakout role that I haven't seen yet, but I heard was pretty good, was that movie called The Big Sick, which was a semi-biographical film about his life.
Yeah, I'm not really, I remember him popping up in cameos and comedies that are my kind of style that I've seen. I'm not really familiar with some of the comedies he's done because I know he really favors kind of new generation.
Yeah.
I don't want to say millennials type. Very, very young.
Yeah.
I'm talking about 15, 16-year-olds. And I've just, he's very unique, and I've never gave him a chance, but it was nice. It was cool to see him in something much more, where everybody will watch.
Yeah, and then from this genre, it seemed like we're getting back into that trend like we had some, in the early 2000s, and, actually, late 90s, 2000s. Every now and then we would have movies where it mainly is set primarily in a car, and you have someone following along with certain journey. If you're in the 90s, we had that movie called The Chase, the one with Charlie Sheen. Then you had in the early mid 2000s, we had that movie Taxi with Queen Latifah, and it kind of gave me the vibe with this one where you also have a cop.
We also had a darker version of that with Collateral.
Yeah, and then so every now and then, it's like every decade, we always get these kind of movies where they're going in a.
And for the most part, they're always almost comedies except for the Collateral one.
Yeah. And so from the trailers in this, I actually thought it was going to, going for that kind of, typical buddy cop movie with, this kind of humor they're going
where you get the cop and then you get the person who never done shit like that before. And it's also the first time we ever seen Uber being used in a movie.
Yeah, because we've always had taxis in the past. This is the first time I've ever seen a full-on Uber.
Which fits the narrative of today where Uber's the big thing now.
Yeah, and so upon seeing the film, it was exactly what I expected. It was very enjoyable. Yeah. It had me laughing, and I had a good time with it.
It was good. I wouldn't say it was downright amazing. I have flaws with it.
Yeah,
but I will say that it's not like one of those comedies where we walk out for the most part and say, "Oh my god, that was painfully unfunny." No, it was decent. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, it definitely got me into what I wanted to do, was laugh, and had a good time with it. Yeah, and to get my pros out of the way, the chemistry between Bautista and the other guy I thought was really great. Yeah, I love how you always got in every cop movie, every buddy cop movie, you also always got that typical strong cop going against the guy who's a fuck up, and I thought it worked really well here because it also, there's even scenes where they actually point out that they actually poke fun of that shit in certain points, like how he says, "Oh, you don't expect to walk away from explosions and shit, do you?"
Kind of self-aware, kind of like a Last Action Hero type of self-awareness of poking fun at the movie, which was kind of funny. And Dave Bautista and that one guy, they blended well, and it's like I said, it's the first time I ever watched a full-on frontal movie, full-on with this Indian guy, and I will say that I kind of like him. He's pretty funny,
and I surprisingly like in the humor I thought really blended well with each other too, but not just in those scenes, but like other scenes too, where you got scenes where, you know, Batista's like beating the shit out of guys, and you got him trying to, the other guy trying to, you know, be, you know, first he's scared, but then he's trying to like act all tough and shit, and you got
he's basically the weakling.
Yeah.
And then I like they banter a lot in this, and I really liked there's like this little plot that goes on, and I wouldn't call it necessarily a little spoiler at all, but Dave Bautista's character had an eye problem. He had to get his eyes examined, so it brings in the plot the reason why he needed an Uber driver, because he couldn't see, because if you guys had LASIK eye surgery or whatever it is, you can't really see for 24 hours. You're blurred and all that because they have to dilate your eyes. But I like the whole, like, throughout the whole movie, he's like, see when he goes up to the statue thinking somebody.
And he's putting a gun in a fucking fish tank.
He goes, I'm gonna blow your big ass TV as a big ass fish tank. I did thought that was pretty fucking funny. And that was not in the trailer, so that was kind of nice.
Yeah.
Seeing there was more to the story.
Yeah, and the other thing I gotta admit too is surprisingly this movie got away with showing like some brutal shit that I didn't think they would do.
Oh my god.
You know?
This movie, for a comedy, I did not expect it to be as bloody and gruesome as it was.
Yeah,
that came out of fucking nowhere. And this movie starts off kind of pretty dark.
Yeah, it does, because like we said, we get this like kind of backstory with involving Batista's character and stuff that leads up to him going after our villain, and it was also great to see Iko from the raid is trying to get more attention in Hollywood, because after his disappointing route in Mile 22 with that movie, I'm at least glad to see, you know, he took a more like comedy-esque role, but the way I kind of have kind of a con, just a minor thing with that, because it kind of falls
actually makes sense. It's funny. It's a con we both have that we'll get to that actually happened in Mile 22 that we have the same issue yet again.
Yeah.
But anyway. I will say, for the most part, unlike Mile 22, which was overall a bad movie, we enjoyed this movie, so it's kind of cool that it's an enjoyable movie we still enjoyed.
Yeah, and the other thing I gotta say is, you know, the movie is it really, you know, it has such a fun dynamic with them two alone, and when, you know, and this is now where we kind of get to our cons I have, and this is really just more of like my biggest thing is that it is pretty much what you expect by the numbers, what buddy cop films go with and stuff.
It actually goes
the exact same route.
Plot. Well, you get the twist. There's a twist in it that you saw coming a mile away. The buddy cop banter back and forth, the obstacle courses of shit.
Yeah, and
they go through
the typical twist of who's behind everything.
You get the weakling becoming tough man towards the end.
And so it's everything you expect. And but the other biggest con I kind of have too is while the film does great in the comedy department, it did feel like the action department was very lackluster. Well,
not only lackluster, but they had a hard time shooting with
scenes. Yeah, there was a lot of shaky cam in scenes, and much like with Mile 22 last year, it's a shame because you now got the guy from the raid in Hollywood who's, you know, trying to make it big, and it's like, man, they cannot choreograph his fucking fight scenes.
They can't. They're now 0 for 2 on choreographing his fights. They just can't catch this guy. I don't know if he's too fast for him, or it's just a Hollywood thing that we're not used to choreographing like Hong Kong-y type fights like they do in their films. I just don't think that the right people are getting a hold of his choreographing. Yeah. No, I just think that, I don't know what's going on, but I had a problem with that.
But thankfully it wasn't too much, because it's mainly like the beginning and kind of end when it takes place. The middle, when it's actually just focused on regular shootouts, it's fine.
Like you said, I just now realized how lackluster of fights they go through, because really all there is that one major shootout thing and then the fucking end.
Yeah,
I mean, this
most
was
of it is
very
just them.
lackluster.
Yeah, it's really a straightforward like trip movie from going point A to point B, and it works well in context, like with the way the story goes along. It's just that you know the action when it is there, it's weird because it's choppy in parts, but then it's fine in some other parts, like especially in the middle scenes where it shows just the shootouts. But yeah, that was really my only biggest con. Besides, you know, the story itself is very predictable, and
the villain got stopped pretty fast.
Yeah,
at the end.
I thought it was kind of more of a, well, I don't want to use this word because there's a movie that actually is about it, cop out.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was pretty much on that level. But overall, though, I still say that this movie was absolutely
Likeable.
It was likable. I'm definitely glad I at least got to see it, and it definitely was a good time.
Yeah.
And so with that, I'm going to give the movie an average Joe on the Film Freaks meter.
Yeah, I'm with him on that. Average Joe on the Film Freaks meter.
Fair enough. For those of you who have also seen Stuber, let us know in the comments below of what you thought about it. And if you like what you see here, you can feel free to like and subscribe to our channel. And check us on other reviews here and our website at filmfreaks.com. And we'll be seeing you in our next review. We'll see you later.
Later.